So, a very good morning to all here. So today it is a very special day. It is International Women Day, and we all know that without this creature of God, we cannot survive. They have made our lives so easy, so loving, so they are so caring. As a mother, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, and we cannot think of living without them. So first of all, very happy Women Day to one and all here, particularly all the wonderful ladies who are a part of this program. And as I said that this creature of life has really made our lives easy. And nature is always, try to make our lives easy. And one part of that nature is plants. Without plants, we cannot live. They provide us oxygen, food, and everything. And this particular day of course, we had dedicated to the women scientist. So the first session will be from a woman, third session will be from a woman, and the third final session will be also a woman. So I welcome all the women experts here on this very special day. And as I said, both women and plants, they make our life easy. And if these two get together, then it is, nothing like that. And we are so fortunate that one of our women scientists, she is so passionate about plants. Plants are her life. So that is Professor Richa Shri, who is a professor of pharmacognosy in a Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Drug Research in Punjab University, Patiala. And she has been serving here since 1997. And she has more than 25 years of experience. And she is very, 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 very popular among all the students and faculty because of her compassionate nature, because of her caring and ever smiling attitude. And plants are her life. And as the plants protect us from, they provide us nutrients, they provide us life. Similarly, they protect us from the pollution also. So that's why this first session is a very special session, because we have combined the two, marvelous creatures of God, women and plants. So Professor Richa Shri will be talking about the role of plants, how the plants can help us in preventing this pollution, in controlling this pollution in our life. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining here and be a part of it.
So much. Thank you so much, Dr. Gulshan. And this was such a lovely beginning to this day.
Thank you. Thank you. And so now it's over to Professor Richa Shri. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. So firstly, a very good morning. And is it possible to see all faces before we start only? If people can just,
Yes, so I request all the participants to switch on their videos so that at least
we can see each other.
We can see each other.
Yeah. So, hello, Harpreet. Poonam, yes.
Good morning, ma'am.
Very good morning, Poonam.
So Dr. Kuldeep Kaur is here.
Yeah. Hello, Kuldeep.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Very good morning. So it's right now it's a small group, and that is, I think, very good. So we can have more of interaction. So yeah. A very good morning to all. And it is such a pleasure to be connected with young teachers and young researchers. Such a pleasure. And for this, I thank Dr. Gulshan for giving me this opportunity. And once again, I will congratulate you, Dr. Gulshan, for all the hard work that has gone behind this program. Right. So I will start. Dr. Gulshan, I'll just share my screen. I don't have that. You have to allow me. as Dr. Gulshan had said, that I'm a person who has been working with plants, and also, like, as you grow a little older, you also understand so much more from nature about, as Dr. Gulshan had said, about compassion and understanding. And I'm a person who loves to read a lot. So I will like to start the day with a story, right? Some of you might have read this story somewhere. And this is a story about an anthropologist who went to Africa, to an African tribe, and he interacted with the tribal children. He said, let us have a race. He placed a basket of sweets near a tree. And he told the children, we'll have a race, 100-meter race. Whoever comes first will get all the sweets in the basket. So the anthropologist stood back and he made the children stand and he said, ready, steady, go. And you know what happened? The children held each other's hands and they ran together. They divided the sweets and they enjoyed themselves. The anthropologist was absolutely stunned at this. And he said, why have you done this? So the children said, Ubuntu. And what did that mean? That how can I be happy when others are sad? Because I am, because we are. I thought this was such a beautiful and pertinent story, because I am living in a home and a family. We are living in a neighborhood, in a community. We are living in a state, in a nature, in a country, then in the world, and we are all part of the environment. So if we want peace, prosperity, equality, and development for my own self, that is only possible if there is peace, prosperity, development for the entire world, for the entire planet. If we want development that will last forever, it has to include everyone. It has to include the entire planet. This is what is called by sustainable development. I'm just introducing this concept, going a little off track. Sustainable development means that there should be development in this world which meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. And this is actually, there is interlinking of different components, the society, economics, culture, and environment. We just cannot do without environment. With this background, it was seen that in 2015, the United Nations, they had what is called a Sustainable Development Summit, because they became aware that there were certain countries which were lagging behind, certain countries which were doing so well, but there is such an imbalance in the world. So if we want to have balance, if we want to have lasting harmony, peace, everything, then there were certain goals that they put forward. These are called the global goals. And according to the United Nations, this was necessary that each country attains these goals so that we are able to transform the world. Transform the world in such a way that there is equality among people, there is economic growth, and it is possible only if environment is strong, right? So of the 17 goals, there is a strong economic pillar, there is the environmental pillar and the social pillar. So goals which said that you have to, every country has to work on this, having clean water and sanitation, affordable clean energy, responsible consumption and production, climate change, we have to be concerned about that, life below water, life on land. If every nation in this world, we work for this, only then will there be a sustainable development. And when this was passed, there was a 2030 agenda that we should attain these goals till 2030. And world leaders promised, they affirmed that we have to protect the planet from degradation and everything. There was, because people had started becoming aware, greatly aware at the rapid change in the environment that is taking place. So United Nations Environment Challenge in 2030 agenda is to develop and enhance integrated approaches to sustainable development. And this is possible only if we have the base is strong, and that is with environment. Environmental sustainability is necessary for economic prosperity and social equity. It is absolutely, absolutely necessary for that. And I will just say that in this program since 3rd of March, you've had So many speakers, so many wonderful speakers who have highlighted the importance of environment, the threats to the environment, and the impact of environmental pollution on the planet. And we've also been talking about management strategies, how to manage this pollution, right? So I will also be continuing with this journey only. I shall be sharing my perspective. And this is what we got. Nature had given us this, and this is what we have made out of it. So how to undo this so that we go back to the original? That is what our focus is. World over, everybody is worried about the environment. Everybody is working. Everybody is doing their bit for, protecting the environment, regenerating whatever things were lost, rejuvenating nature. That is the aim. And for this, we have to have a development which minimizes environmental problems, meets the needs of the existing generations and also of the future generations. We should not do anything which will harm the future. So for this, it is said that we need to reduce our carbon footprint as much as possible. Each one has to do this. Incorporate environment-friendly thinking into our businesses, reduce consumption of resources and waste, and also clean up all the mess that is already present, cleaning up the environment. And please remember, plans to protect air, water, wilderness, and wildlife. We are not doing a favor to nature. This we are doing it for ourselves, because if nature is safe, only then I will be safe. And if nature is damaged, there is no way in which I can continue to live comfortably. So this is the background. And I, as Dr. Gulshan had said, I'm a person who has spent most of my professional life working with plants. And I honestly feel that nature has an answer for all human needs, whether it is food, whether it is wood fabric, fibers that we have, for shelter, we take wood, for medicines. My area is getting medicines from natural products. So I know that nature, is looking after all our normal needs, and nature has an answer for all our crisis also. We just have to understand it a little better. So I will be sharing what I have learned, that how can we take the help of nature to heal nature. So protecting our environment, taking nature's help. Phytoremediation. This is what I shall be talking briefly about. So there is a big concept which is called bioremediation. Some of you have already been aware of it also. Bioremediation simply means that we are cleaning up pollutants by using certain living organisms. It could be plants, it could be fungi, it could be bacteria, but the aim is cleaning up the environment, cleaning up the earth so that we have a healthier, a green earth of the future. And in this major chunk is one class is called microbial bioremediation, in which we are using microorganisms. And the other, that is phytoremediation, that is cleaning up of pollutants by plants, taking growing plants that will help us to clean the mess that we have created, right? So phytoremediation, it's actually a group of technologies in which we are using plants to reduce, remove, degrade, or immobilize environmental toxins. Any contaminants that are present, we are trying to reduce them, remove them, degrade them, immobilize them. Primarily those of anthropogenic origin, created by our own activity. And the aim is to restore those areas to a usable condition. With pollution, what we are all aware of is that we have damaged earth to such an extent that certain areas are becoming unlivable. They are not good. They are not good for our health. So the aim of phytoremediation, or in fact remediation, is to restore earth to its original glory. The focus is on use of plants to accelerate degradation of organic contaminants, usually which are found in the soil and in water. That is the idea. Phytoremediation of contaminated sites is relatively inexpensive. And when you plant some plants or trees, it looks so appealing. It is aesthetically pleasing to public, rather than if you have other remediation strategies, when you are talking about putting up a plant for cleaning up effluents. As compared to that, if you just put up a tree, if you grow a tree, you grow certain plants, the trees look attractive. They are making a more beautiful environment, and at the same time, they are busy cleaning up. So nature in its amazing way, it's giving us everything that we need, basic needs, plus it is, if we grow a tree, it will be a house for different birds, for different animals. It will make the temperature cooler. It will make the environment more pleasant. So this method of remediation is very appealing. I'll just repeat fast that what is phytoremediation? Phytoremediation is a part of bioremediation. Bioremediation means that we are using living organisms to clean up all the contaminants, to clean up all the pollutants from the environment. And in phytoremediation, simply put, बिल्कुल आसान words में, we are growing certain plants which have the capacity to clean up the pollutants. They can reduce them, they can remove them, degrade them, immobilize them. जो भी pollutants हमने करे हैं. और phytoremediation uses plants to clean up contaminated soil and groundwater. They have shown immense success for cleaning up numerous metals, radionuclide, various organic compounds. So that is amazing. You are growing one plant and so many multiple things are getting cleaned up. General site condition best suited for potential use of phytoremediation means that where can we use this? Generally, so far, what success has been seen is that low to moderate surface soil, if that is contaminated, up to about 3 feet depth, plants can clean up very well. And water up to a depth of about 10 feet, very well the plants are able to clean. But deeper than that, researchers are still working on that. Ex situ, in situ means where the contamination is. Ex situ, when we have ex situ treatment plants, वो अलग जगह पे हो जाएगा. वहां पर that is also under a lot of investigation, but success has been seen with soil contamination up to 3 feet and water contamination up to 10 feet. And this remediation strategy has been pursued by industry as well as by academicians. They are propagating that phytoremediation is a sustainable technology for cleaning up the mess that we have only created. This has got widespread application. And since it is cost effective, it can be applicable for both the developed nations and developing countries which cannot afford very expensive remediation methods. So all you have to understand is that plant a tree, grow some plants, and we will have a better environment. Simple. And there are different techniques of phytoremediation, namely phytoextraction, phytodegradation, rhizosphere degradation, rhizofiltration. I'll be taking up one by one. Phytostabilization, phytovolatilization, phytorestoration. Combining these technologies offers the greatest potential for cleaning up polluted areas. Okay. Acha. So before I proceed, is my language clear? Am I going at an okay speed? Or should I use a mixed language? Please.
No, ma'am, they are fine. They have been listening to, to
Okay,
the experts. Yeah.
All right. So no problems. I continue like this only. So starting with the first technique, it is called phytoextraction. Basically, it just means that there is removal of toxins like heavy metals and metalloids by the roots of the plants, and they are transported to the aerial plant organs. And I'll just show you that there are certain plants which can take up these heavy metals. These plants are called hyperaccumulators. There are plants which cannot do this, but there are certain plants which have the capacity to accumulate, to take up heavy metals. These are plants like Indian mustard, like sunflower. When we grow them, they are able to take up all these heavy metal contaminants and the metalloids from the soil, and they can take them up into the aerial parts. This is called phytoextraction. It can be it is called either a continuous phytoextraction, that means using plants that accumulate particularly high levels of toxic contaminants throughout their lifetime. They have the capacity to take up and they continue taking it up. The other is called induced phytoextraction. That what we mean is that we are enhancing the take up of the toxin by adding certain chelators. वो क्या करते हैं कि जो हेवी मेटल्स हैं उनको प्लांट को अब्सॉर्ब करने में हेल्प कर देते हैं. सो वी एड सर्टन चिलेटर्स, सर्टन केमिकल्स लाइक EDTA, एक केमिकल है जिससे ये बाइंड हो जाते हैं हेवी मेटल्स, एंड देन द प्लांट कैन टेक देम अप. सो दिस प्रोसेस इज hastened. But एक प्रॉब्लम जरूर है that sometimes these chelators can get accumulated in the plant material. तो वो उसके अंदर soil layers के अंदर they are water soluble, तो वो soil की layers में वो घुस सकते हैं. That is one problem. So we have plants which are taking up these contaminants readily. These are called hyperaccumulators. These are natural. But in certain cases, when we add EDTA, we add certain chemicals so that a complex is formed with the heavy metals, and then the plant is taking it up. The plants take it up and then take it up to the aerial portion. So the soil is getting cleaned. You understand? We are talking about cleaning up of soil pollution, and in other cases, we'll also be talking about water pollution. So plants are growing, the roots are taking up any contaminant that is present in near the roots. So they are taking up the metals and pushing them up towards the, transporting them towards the aerial portion. When we are adding a chelator, something, a chemical which makes a complex with the heavy metals, it makes it more soluble for the plant to take it up. So EDTA complex banaya with heavy metals, and then the roots are able to take it up more easily and translocate it to the shoots and the leaves. So the soil is becoming cleaner, right? Next is a technique which is called phytodegradation. This means that we are breaking down organic pollutants by certain plant enzymes, and they are getting broken down into simpler compounds. जो compound original pollutant था, that is highly toxic, but when they are when the plants are growing, they are producing certain enzymes जो उन compounds को तोड़ रहा है into what? Into simpler compounds which do not have as much toxicity. So as this figure shows us, the plants which are growing, their roots are containing certain enzymes which degrade the pollutants in the soil area near the roots. That is what is called the rhizosphere, the soil portion near the roots. And once these compounds are degraded, they are taken up. Phytodegrading enzymes degrade the pollutants, and then they are taken up by the plants, right? And what is seen, that plants such as poplar trees, badi jo popular trees hai, ya plant like datura, they can convert major pollutants like trichloroethylene, other chlorinated solvents into carbon dioxide, chloride, iron, and water. वो break down कर दिया. This was more complicated, more harmful. इनकी presence में इनकी enzymes ने इनको break down किया to form carbon dioxide, chloride, iron, and water. Less dangerous for the environment, less dangerous for us. And studies have also shown that not just contaminants like trichloroethylene or chlorinated solvents, ammunition waste, TNT, RDX, these plants, popular, this can partially transform it. And root exudates of datura, they contain enzymes like peroxidase, lacase, which can degrade these ammunition waste completely. They cause breakdown of TNT, RDX. So wonderful. The damage that we are doing with wars, that can be sorted out by planting these trees and this plant. Right. Another technique that is called phytovolatilization. As the name tells us, plants are making the compounds volatile. They are converting them into something which is volatile. Volatile means which will evaporate at room temperature. So what is being done is we are planting some trees, some plants, and wahan par jo contaminants hai, they are taken up, they are converted, they are transported to the leaves, and there are certain changes that are taking place, which are making them converted, which are converting them into a gaseous state. Volatile form mein unko convert kar raha hai. And phir kya ho raha hai? Once it is in a gaseous state, the stomata, through the stomata, those volatile, less harmful material is liberated into the atmosphere. I'll repeat. So from the soil, the contaminants are absorbed into the roots. The roots transfer these material into the aerial portion and into the leaves, where transformation takes place so that these harmful chemicals get converted into a gas, or gas पत्तों के stomata में से it gets liberated into the atmosphere. So phytoremediation by this process. One of the best known examples for this is mercury. Mercury is converted into an elemental form by watercress and yellow poplars. These are the plants, and unke saath, this is converted into a into a volatile form, and then it can be removed into the atmosphere. Chlorinated hydrocarbons move readily through the plants, like poplars, like cedar wood, alfalfa. Polar compounds कम करते हैं, but ये chlorinated hydrocarbons जो हैं, easily they are moving from the root to the leaves, where they are converted into a volatile form, gas, and then through the stomata, they are liberated into the atmosphere. Selenium metal also, there are reports in which selenium has been taken up by plants and volatilized. So जो भी contamination हो रही थी, chlorinated hydrocarbons, mercury, selenium, it could be sorted out with planting trees like cedar tree, poplar tree, or plants like alfalfa, watercress. This is a small plant that can be grown, and it can clean up the environment from these particular contaminants. Another technique for phytoremediation is rhizosphere degradation. Rhizosphere is the soil which is surrounding the roots, right? This also involves enzymatic breakdown. We had talked about that plants are causing degradation, breakdown. Complex contaminants broken down into simpler compounds by plant enzymes. What is seen is that in the soil around the roots, you also have microorganisms growing. We can have bacteria, we can have algae, we can have fungi which are growing. So rhizosphere degradation, this is also talking about enzymatic breakdown, but this is through microbial enzymatic activity. पहले वाला क्या था, जिसमें हमने बात की कि कॉम्प्लेक्स कंपाउंड ब्रोकन डाउन इनटू सिंपल कंपाउंड, और सिंपल कंपाउंड जो बन गए वो लेस हार्मफुल है. दिस वाज ड्यू टू द प्रेजेंस ऑफ सर्टेन प्लांट एंजाइम्स. अब यहाँ पर क्या बात कर रहे हैं कि प्लांट्स की रूट्स के पास वी हैव गॉट माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स, बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट है जिनकी अपनी एंजाइम्स हैं. दे आर ब्रेकिंग डाउन द कॉम्प्लेक्स कंटामिनेंट्स इनटू simpler compounds, and they can be removed from the system. Then the difference is okay. What we need to हो क्या रहा है, सफाई हो रही है, but हो कैसे रही है, अलग अलग techniques है. Then there is a concept of rhizofiltration. Rhizofiltration removes contaminants from water and aqueous waste streams such as agricultural runoff, industrial discharges, nuclear material processing waste. जहां पर भी ये है कि this is like a filtration. Filtration क्या कर रहे हैं, जैसे हमने एक कपड़ा रखा, ऊपर से पानी रखा, एंड नीचे साफ पानी आ गया, ऊपर जो भी उसके थे मटेरियल वो फिल्टर होके बाहर निकल गए. This is what filtration involves. और इसमें क्या हो रहा है कि we are growing certain plants which are able to act like those filters. I'll just show you. This is a work which was done near Chernobyl. Chernobyl, I think, आजकल हम दोबारा भी सुन रहे हैं because of Ukraine and Russia. Chernobyl is where there was this big nuclear plant, and वहाँ पर एक accident हुआ था many years ago. So the whole area was contaminated. One particular study was done in which they grew sunflowers, and what is done is that in a kind of a closed area, जिसको हम हाइड्रोपोनिक सिस्टम कह रहे हैं, कि जहां पर पानी फ्लो कर रहा है, सॉइल नहीं है. The plants are growing. If you see that they were big containers on which there are sunflowers being grown. There is a plant support matrix जिसके ऊपर plants grow कर रहे हैं, and इनके roots यहाँ पर हैं. They were pumping in contaminated groundwater, जहां पर क्या था, the nuclear waste was coming out. So this particular water was being pumped in through this hydroponic system. Hydroponic system, एक जगह जहां पर plants are growing but not in soil. They are supported, they are given nutrients in a liquid media, but not soil is not there, right? तो इन्होंने contaminated groundwater उसके पास किया और flow इधर से जा रहा था from here. So as they passed through the roots acted like filter. They kept on taking up the contaminants. ये जो सारे C लिखे हुए हैं इन्होंने, so the C's were all taken up by the roots, and this water, as it was flowing from this portion to the other side, when it came out, it was clean of the contaminants. So rhizofiltration, amazing. All we need to do is grow plants which will remove contaminants from water, which can be any kind of contaminant, agricultural runoff, industrial effluents, and something as dangerous as a nuclear waste. We can even clear those with these plants. That can be cleared up completely. Then phytostabilization. As the term tells us, we are stabilizing something. There can be erosion, there can be leaching, that can mobilize soil contaminants to go from one place to another. अगर हमने कुछ चीज उसको, if plants are not growing and that soil is contaminated, what is going to happen is, जब भी कभी बारिश आए, पानी पड़ा खूब सारा, those contaminants are going to go from one place to the next because there is nothing to hold them over there. But if we plant certain trees, if we plant certain appropriate plants, the roots are going to be there, as we can see in this picture. This is when there are no plants. So these contaminants will continue to move from one place to the next. But if we are growing certain plants, their root systems will be there. The roots will hold the soil. It will prevent soil erosion. It will prevent the soil cover from being blown off. And at the same time, the contaminants will be contained in one particular area. सब जगह आगे से आगे नहीं जाएगा. So plants growing on polluted sites stabilize the soil. They serve as ground cover, ताकि ऊपर भी मिट्टी सारा वक्त उड़ती ना रहे, soil erosion ना हो, and the contaminants are restricted to one particular area. It is not going to spread to other areas. So plants with high transpiration rates, such as grasses, reeds, they are very useful for phytostabilization. They decrease the amount of groundwater migration. पानी को आगे जाने नहीं दे रहा. पानी के अंदर, ग्राउंड वाटर के अंदर कंटामिनेशन है. आप लोग अभी तक फेमिलियर हो डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ पोल्यूशंस के. एयर पोल्यूशन है, सॉइल पोल्यूशन है, वाटर पोल्यूशन है, ग्राउंड वाटर पोल्यूशन है. सो प्लांट्स आर क्लियरिंग अप द एयर, हवा को साफ कर रहा है. जो भी वहां पर कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड है, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड है, उसको वो टेक अप कर रहा है, गिविंग अस ऑक्सीजन. सॉइल को क्लीन अप कर रहा है, जितने कंटामिनेंट्स हैं बाय डिफरेंट प्रोसेसेस उनको कर रहा है. एंड देन ऑल्सो ग्राउंड वाटर को क्लियर अप कर रहा है. वहां पर से वो स्टेबलाइजेशन कर रहा है, फिल्ट्रेशन में वो हेल्प कर सकता है, सो दैट कंटामिनेंट्स डू नॉट स्प्रेड टू अदर प्लेसेस. This table I got from a paper and I found it was such a good summary. So phyto extraction, plants are extracting heavy metals from the soil. They are called hyper accumulators. They can take up nickel, lead, zinc, radionuclide, anything. Plants such as Brassica juncea or Indian mustard, sunflower. They are so good. They are accumulating the toxins into themselves, but they are cleaning up the soil. Rhizofiltration, this is again, there is accumulation through sorption, concentration and precipitation. Filtration किसकी? जो contaminated पानी था. And इसमें क्या देखा गया? Metals like cadmium, copper, radionuclide, again जो Indian mustard है, sunflower है, tobacco, rye, spinach and corn. These are amazing plants which are useful for this. Phytovolatilization, quick revision हो रही है, that हमने plants के roots ने absorb किया, leaves तक लेके गए, वहां पर the compounds are converted into gaseous form, which is removed from the leaves by the stomata. This generally includes organics and inorganics, chlorinated solvents. They can be removed by the process of phytovolatilization. उनको gas form में convert करके निकाल दिया. So this includes poplars, alfalfa and Indian mustard. Amazing plant, amazing plant. हर तरह का सफाई वो कर सकता है. Phytodegradation meant pollutant को खत्म कर दिया, उसको break down कर दिया. Complicated compound by plant enzymes उसको तोड़ के harmless compound बना दिया. Again, poplars, black willow, algae, ये सब चीजें उसको break down कर सकते हैं. Phytostabilization, roots ने क्या किया? Soil को पकड़ लिया and soil erosion होने से बचा दिया. And secondly, जो contaminants थे in groundwater, उनको आगे नहीं flow करने दिया. They prevented groundwater migration जो उनके अंदर pollutants थे उनको वो रोक लिया. So wonderful things that we are doing. What are the advantages? ये करने का क्या फायदा है? हमें कोई खास काम नहीं करना. It is economically feasible. Phytoremediation is autotrophic, doesn't require any energy input. It is being powered by solar energy. The plants will continue to grow. It is simple to manage. Cost of installation, maintenance is like nothing. All we need to do is just grow plants, right kind of plants. We have to select based on what type of pollutants are present, and then we select the plants. That can be done based on research, what is being done, and certain places are already using these methods. This is environment friendly, eco-friendly. It has got wide applicability. It can be applied over a large scale field, and it can be easily, it can be easily disposed also. Along with doing remediation, when we grow plants, it prevents soil erosion, metal leaching, because it is stabilizing, and it improves soil fertility. Because जब वो break down कर रहा है, it is producing certain organic matter to the soil. So it is enriching the soil also. So by growing the plants, we are doing so much: cleaning the air, cleaning the soil, cleaning groundwater, cleaning any water bodies which are nearby. Plus, we are preventing soil erosion. We are improving the soil fertility. So there is also generation of lesser secondary waste, minimal associated environment disturbances there, and the ability is to leave soils in place and in a usable condition following treatment. हमें mess मिला है, हमने वहां पर trees लगा दिए, हमने वहां पर poplar tree लगा दी, हमने वहां पर Indian mustard plant लगा दिया. The advantage is कि सब सफाई उसने कर दी, and it is restoring that area. It is improving the condition, and it is restoring it to its original health. But problems bhi hai. Every coin has got two sides. हर सिक्के के दो पहलू. Good points bhi hai, but there are certain problems also. The major disadvantage is that long lengths of time is required. Several growing seasons. तो थोड़ा patient होना पड़ेगा. When I'm teaching my particular subject to the students, pharmacognosy, when I'm teaching them, I always tell them that plants teach us patience and perseverance. Patience, that you cannot expect nature to do anything in a hurry. It will work at its own pace. So we have to be very patient. But it might take a long time, but it is more, there are no side effects. When we are growing a plant, there is no side effect. And then there is a limitation of the kitni extent tak ye clean kar sakta hai. There's a depth limitation. It can clear up to 3 feet for soil and up to 10 feet for groundwater. इतना ये clean कर सकता है अभी तक जो काम हुआ है. I'm sure with the process, with progress, as scientists are, they're working so hard, the environmental scientists, to find out ways and means to clean up the environment, that this limitation will also be, in some way overcome. But at this moment, there is this depth limitation. And one major problem. So we are growing a plant and there are lots of contaminants in the soil. The plant is taking it up. Okay, soil becomes clean. But the contaminants can enter the food chain if an animal comes and, eats that plant. I hope I am making sense. हमारे food chains हैं. Plants ने खाना बनाया, उनको खाने के लिए कोई animal आया, फिर उसको बड़ा animal खा रहा है, फिर बड़ा animal खा रहा है, whatever the case may be. ये plants ने क्या किया? They have taken up all the contaminants, the radionuclides, the heavy metals from the soil, and they have taken it up into their system, into the roots, and then they are being sent up to the stem, up to the leaves. अब इस stage पे आके कोई animal इसको खा जाए plant को. This contaminant can enter the food chain. That is one major drawback. So what I could think of is that wherever we are doing phytoremediation, we have to find a solution. Problem पता चल गई. Focus should not be on the problem. Focus always has to be on finding a possible solution. So the possible solution to this could be कि जहाँ पर भी हम phytoremediation कर रहे हैं, वहाँ पर जो herbivorous animals हैं, उनका approach जरा curtail कर दें. There should not be too many भेड़ बकरियां which are coming to feed on those areas in that particular area. वो protect करना पड़ेगा हमको. Okay. So there is another term that when we are using a combination of phytoremediation approaches, it is leading to phytorestoration. This involves complete remediation of contaminated soils to fully functional soils. जो पिक्चर आपको दिखाई थी कि हमें ग्रीन प्लैनेट मिला था, इतना खूबसूरत प्लैनेट मिला था और हमने उसको बिल्कुल पोल्यूट कर दिया. The idea is to restore it to its original glory, where the soil is fully functional, it is healthy, and it is healthy not just for me, but for future generations also to come. There has to be sustainability. And phytorestoration means we are using a combination of phytoremediation techniques so that there is complete restoration of health to the soils. And this will be something, a combination like this. Of one plant which is causing phytostabilization, which is preventing soil erosion, which is taking up volatile components, turning them into gas, which is being liberated from the stomata. There are enzymes within the plant which are breaking down the complex contaminants, making them into simpler compounds. Phytoextraction, the whole thing works together. And what is ultimately what we are getting is soil which is healthy, groundwater which is clean, and that is what is our ultimate aim. And this is what seems so easy, but we just need to implement it at a larger scale. And what is seen is, as I said in the beginning, all of us are interrelated. We cannot think that only, okay, that if the UN has set certain sustainable development goals, so the earth is going to become okay. No, we need global initiatives, we need government policies, and not just policies, we need them to be implemented very stringently. And we need to have communities, हम अपने area में, we need to have awareness drives, plantation drives. And I always, when I'm teaching my students, I always say that every step will matter. If we want to save our environment, every little bit is going to make a difference. So each one should plant one tree in your lifetime. If you can do more, very good, very, very good. But if we can start with a single tree at our own place, we create awareness in our communities. We create awareness to people who have got businesses, who have got industries which are polluting, which have got industrial effluents, that, okay, you should also have plants growing with them. You have to have plants, you have to have those plants which can clean up the effluents. You should use microorganisms which can break down those. So bioremediation should be used, creating an awareness in the community, in the industry, making sure that the industry becomes more sensitized, that they have to have what is called green approach. Development is necessary. We all need the economic fayda jo humko ho raha hai. We need the progress, but at the same time, we also need that we should do it in a way which is good for me, good for my community, good for the future generations, and good for my planet Earth. Right? So as I just wanted to just summarize, we grow one tree, and this is cleaning up the air. This can clean up the water. This can clean up the soil. It can clean up the groundwater. So we can never underestimate the power of a single tree. Can you see the number of people who are sitting on a very hot and sunny day? We need a tree only. All of us, if we are going for a walk, we would like to stand under the tree only. And that one tree can give us food. It can give us shelter. It can give, it can be a resting place for animals, for birds. It can clean up the environment which the plant has not messed up, but they have the capacity to clean our mess. So our duty is that we should understand nature as much as possible, use it as a friend, not abuse it. When we become a friend of nature, we will have a solution to all possible things. And yes, we have to create an awareness, especially with the industry, especially in any area where we see that there is too much of contamination. That simple trick, grow plants and you will clean the environment. That is the take-home message that I'd like to give, that phytoremediation is a natural way of cleaning up the nature. We are taking nature's help to clean up nature. Thank you. Any questions? Anything?
Thank you so much, Richa ma'am, for a lovely talk on this lovely day. And this is, you see, there are many plants which which we are planting and which we come
True.
across, and but we don't know that what is their contribution in cleaning the environment from pollutants.
True.
So this is at least our bit which we can do on our end in protecting the environment. At least every one of us is fond of gardening. Some have bigger gardens, some have see kitchen gardens or so. But we can plant those trees. We can nurture those trees which are helpful in polluting, which are helpful in removing the pollutants. Also, this is another way is that there are several NGOs who are involved in plantation drives, and they might not be knowing about these specific plants which are important which play important role in removing pollutants. So with this knowledge, I think the participants of this course, they can you see approach those NGOs and request them to plant specific
Yes.
plants or such herbs around, you see, the drains where
Around the drains. Absolutely.
around the drains
But
where
Gulshan, one care has to be taken
yeah.
that the plants which are used for phytoremediation, we have to be careful that those should not be consumed by herbivorous animals.
So
गाय बकरी उस पे खाएगी वो उसमें आ जाएगा मतलब वो protected होने चाहिए. The
this is
plants
what,
which
yeah, this is what a question was raised in my mind when you said that there are certain plants which absorb heavy elements. So those heavy
yes,
elements or heavy metals, when they are absorbed by the plant, then what should be the, you see, care we have to take about those plants, how they should be, you see, disposed of.
those plants,
Die,
how should they? Yes.
they die, yeah, and
That is why I suppose that is why phytoremediation as a concept, this sounds very good. But we have to work out these details that how to protect those plants so that the herbivorous animals don't eat them up. And secondly, as you are saying, that once they have done their bit, they have done their job of cleaning the soil, how are we going to dispose of that? जिसको हम वेस्ट ही कह देंगे ना उसके बाद जो प्लांट्स जिन्होंने टेकअप कर दिया है, that needs to be worked out completely before it is implemented at a industrial scale, at a large scale. But at a smaller scale, just say for example, all of us like to have indoor plants. So we put a aloe vera plant, snake plant, spider plant, bamboos inside the house. They are called only air purifying plants. And in our homes, we used to have this was a part of our Indian culture that we always had tulsi ka podha growing in our homes. So tulsi plant has got amazing capacity. Again, it's an oxygen generator. Firstly, it can absorb carbon monoxide in the environment, carbon dioxide. So our bit and water purification it is doing. And whatever our bit is there, we can start with that. And then, especially where there is an industrial effluent plant over there or anything, there we can have plantations. Proper, let's say we can grow brassica, that can be done. Or trees. Trees are actually much better. For example, if you have seen the road from Patiala to Chandigarh, we've had road widening, right? Gulshan, 10 years ago, there were such good, huge trees growing on either side of the road.
Yeah.
And when the road was widened, they have removed those trees and now they are growing shrubs. The shrubs will not be able to generate as much oxygen as a tree can. And the roots are not deep enough to hold that much soil. So if we are cutting down a tree, we have to replace it with a tree. We can't just say कि tree काटा तो number of पौधे हमने उतने grow कर दिए. That much care we have to take.
And that is true. If we are getting oxygen, we are getting oxygen because our forefathers, they planted trees.
Absolutely.
We are not getting oxygen because we did our best.
Of us.
Right. So what kind of environment we want our children should have, at least for that we can do our bit, that let's plant a tree. Like you see, it is also a very good practice, which is a priest that on one's birthday one should plant a tree on every birthday. and that
Absolutely.
plant should be nurtured also, not just plant and leave it.
Right.
It should be nurtured also. So by this way,
Absolutely.
at least yes, we cannot clean the environment totally, but at least the locality where we live,
That
the
we can
groundwater,
start with that.
yeah, at least we can clean our surrounding. That is
Absolutely.
important. And वो कहते हैं ना कि पोल्यूशन इतना ज्यादा हो रहा है, इसमें मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? हम कुछ भी कर ले, कुछ तो करें. We cannot sit
कुछ तो
idle.
करें, बिकॉज हम भी तो कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं.
हाँ,
टू
अगर
एवरी
घर में आग
पोल्यूशन
लगी
हम भी
है,
तो कंट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं. हाँ,
अगर घर
तो
में आग
बेचारा
लगी है
सबको
तो ये
पता
थोड़ी है कि हम बैठे रहेंगे कि फायर ब्रिगेड वाले आएंगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा.
ना.
है ना, हमें जान तो बचानी पड़ेगी अपनी.
Everybody has to contribute. Everybody. Acha,
Yeah.
and the participants who've been listening so patiently, did it make sense? Any questions?
So I would love some participants if they can interact on this very pertinent topic, and this topic interests all of us. So I hope there should be some queries or some interactions. Dr.
It was
Kuldeep,
okay. Samajh pada.
Dr. Kuldeep, Dr.
Kuldeep ji.
Sanjeet.
And I like to appreciate
Yes,
Gaurav ji was first to come, first to
yeah,
join. Very, very punctual.
yeah.
Very punctual.
He's the first one to join most of the time.
Yes, very punctual. Yes. So
if any
I hope-
participant need what kind of specific plant they can plant in their
plants, yes.
home around them,
Homes.
so they can ask Professor Richa very freely.
Yes. Sorry.
So there is no participant want to.
या तो सुना नहीं.
या तो सुना नहीं या सारा या mesmerized हो गए हैं.
I hope we all can make the world a little better. I definitely feel that each one of us can contribute so much. Everybody, each one, our little bit, but it will make all the difference. हर बूंद से, वो कहते हैं ना, बूंद बूंद से सागर बन जाता है. हर बूंद matters. Every बूंद will matter.
This is what the purpose of this course is, actually to make the people aware about the extent of this degradation and how we can contribute at our level or at individual level, and how we can contribute our drop. That's important.
Absolutely. So if no questions, so shall I?
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And that is, you see, very, very pertinent of that important topic which we have discussed. We have come to know several plants which we might have, neglected, thinking that it is of no value, right? It may not be having any, aesthetic value. It may not be having any, flowering value or so on, but they definitely carry environmental protection value. So that is important to us.
Absolutely.
We should take care of
and
that.
Gulshan, also aesthetic also. Like if we are planting sunflowers, they look also pretty and they're doing so much of hard work.
Yeah.
दोनों चीजें हैं उनकी.
Then sunflower is like it absorbs some elements, but sunflower seeds, they are also nowadays increasingly used similar to that alsi seeds and chia seeds and all that.
It is right.
How safe it is to consume
but
those
जिसमें हम phytoremediation, no. If we are using these plants for phytoremediation, we have to be sure that because they are taking up all those heavy metals and all. So I don't think that we can use them. Let me just find out if what happens after phytoremediation is done. I'll share that with you, and maybe you can tell this to the group by tomorrow. That what happens once phytoremediation is done. What next? What happens to the plants? Can we use them from an economic point of view? कि हमने sunflower लगाया तो sunflower seed को use कर सकते हैं, उसको sunflower seed oil बना सकते हैं कि नहीं? ये मैं आपको कल तक confirm कर दूँगी.
This opens up a new area of research. Absolutely. I think for the budding scientists, at least they can, monitor the and these contaminants in those plants which are near the drains or so on, right? Yes. so that some data can be.
Whether they are fit for human consumption, whether they are not fit for consumption, and what needs to be done so that those plants which are growing near contaminated places, they are taking up, they are under a lot of stress. जो
Yeah.
हम कहते हैं ना कि abiotic stress तो plants पे बहुत है, but what happens to those plants and what happens to people who are consuming them, what happens to the animals who consume those plants, well, that needs to be
And it
worked
is
on. That needs
possible that those plants might be producing some other secondary metabolites which may be of certain therapeutic value.
could be absolutely. That is true.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Okay,
ma'am.
Gulshan.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure and pleasure,
for
Gulshan. Right.
this contribution and your time.
Right. Okay, Gulshan. And all the very best to all the participants. All the very best.
So participants, we have a speaker with us, Dr. Madison Ronghang. He is assistant professor and a practicing engineer in the Department of Civil Engineering at Bineshwar Brahma Engineering College in Kokrajhar in Assam. He is also a chief coordinator for the Northeastern region for Civil Construction Council, and he is also participating in the Engineering Council of India for the North region. And because he's an academician, a researcher, and a practicing engineer and a civil engineer, so he knows very well the intricacies of the pollution which is created by the construction industry. So pollution by the construction industry, so far in the last 5 days, we have heard about a lot. Heard a lot about this pollution from the chemicals, pollutions from the biologicals, pollution from the industry, or so on. But this construction industry, which we know is blooming at a very fast pace, it is also causing pollution to air, pollution to water, and pollution to soil. So how this construction pollution is contributing towards the degradation of environment and how it can be avoided, that we will hear, that will be touched upon by Dr. Madison. So he has joined us. So I welcome Dr. Madison for sharing his perspective on this. Dr. Madison, please, over to you. Please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. Extremely sorry and very good morning, sir.
Very good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, this for inconvenience, I sincerely apologize and take the opportunity to thank you all for this platform, which I'll be talking about my experiences here, especially in Assam. Of course, I am associated with the CIDC, that is Construction Industry Development Council. But today I'll be talking about a generic pollution and also how this pollution can, transform and then can rejuvenate and remotion into a solution for drinking water. I'll be talking basically on how we'll be touching upon that this pollution has really touched us to make a sustainable solution, and then from there we have to get the drinking water out of the wastewater. This is where I'll be talking, and I'll be talking about some technology which is very basic, and most of the participants would know that how this wastewater has been changing our life and what are the technology available. We call it BAT, best available technology, but nevertheless those best available technology could be sometimes very expensive. So that's why I'll be sharing. So sir, if I'm allowed, could I share my presentation?
You're allowed, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Our pleasure, sir.
Actually, sometimes this official email address goes here and there. Extremely sorry,
Well,
I was
actually,
a bit shocked.
last night I just met Dr. Kunal, and he also conveyed the same thing. There is sometimes problem with the official email ID. Thank God WhatsApp is there, so we could contact.
Yes, sir. So just give me a minute and then I'll be sharing.
Sure.
Probably Yes. So, where the share button? Okay. So could anyone confirm, please? Is it the PPT visible? I think it is, right?
It is visible.
Yes, sir. So it's in a full screen. Okay. So like, for example, my topic says that I'll be talking on the wastewater to water. And of course, the journey from the wastewater to water and with respect to the contaminations. So here, if I see that, the null is there and the null is only fetching a small amount of water, here is the challenge. So if there is a challenge, and what I'll be talking, like I'll be talking the motivation behind and how the wastewater are generated. Of course, everybody know, and of course, how it is treated and what are the challenges in this to get a drinkable water. And of course, then some I'll be sharing about the case study. So now if you see here, you can see beautiful boys and girls, standing, or I would say they're rolling in a beautiful place. Isn't it a beautiful place? I think everybody would accept, no, it is not. But the joy you can see there. But if we can protect their joy in their coming generation, life to life, then that would be the best thing what we can contribute. So this all picture which we see here is that this is really an ironic, or our state, ironic state of our country or in the world. So here is this motivation behind, some of the studies suggest that we have almost 38,000 354 mld of waste is generated in our city, a major sum of a city, but not all are documented still. And only hello, is it audible?
There was a little lag. I think there was might be some connection problem. We just
Right, sir. Right, sir.
for a few
Extremely sorry, sir.
seconds. That was
I'm
all.
connected with the home Wi-Fi, so sometimes. Okay, nevertheless, so let's continue. So I was talking that we have only 30% that is goes to the treatment way. Basically, the treatment way. What I mean is that the integration of science and technology. So we have only 30%. The remaining 70%, which is accounted as per the data, they are still put into our natural system. So that's why the business is really very serious affair. Now if I say that why it is very serious affair, now if you can see there, we already know about this, the history, that how much water is available, where it is available. But just to bring it before your kind attention, that the water which left out for us, there is a consumption water which left hardly a few fraction, the percentage. But now that is not our concern. Our concern is the remaining water, which is fresh water, we call it. So out of this fresh water, the highest water which has been used is, of course, it's agriculture. Then what do we have for our consumption? Very small amount, and some are, of course, they are being evaporated, taken by the nature. Now if I go back, then this is some of the challenges you see. You can see it anywhere. I took it this picture from one of the project sites, so I just wanted to demonstrate that even Delhi is not as beautiful as we are thinking or what we are seeing it. So you can see how it is been thrown here and there. So the challenges is what happened, all the household water, whatever that is been discarded or not used, they are directly put to the natural system. That's a big. And of course there are some solid, how do you call it, suspended here, and debris they are also putting into the natural water system. Now if you see this the criteria or the characteristic, then it is not very how do you call it, you don't say it very appreciating, a BOD level, COD level, all this. Maybe my previous speaker has also spoke about this, because today is, I think, in the mid of the program now. But I want to just inform you that our place where we were been studying is that they are really not very healthy place. If you can see about the loading of a pathogen, you can see the 10 to the power 6, almost a million are there. So now if you go and dip there, or if your child go and just, not a deep even, they can walk there, then what it will happen? So that's the biggest challenge which we need to address it. Now, if I put into a kind of graphical presentation, then how it will look? It will look that this spot which has been put in the kind of arrow, you can see it there. These are a bottleneck, and how do we mitigate them? There's a stress. The infographic represent about this stress. Now, if I see that, okay, why do it is very important? I think everybody will accept and also how to appreciate that, hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So if is it the slide is moving, because I cannot see it.
It is moving.
Okay, can anybody confirm me what is the slide now showing? Is it this one, contamination, this one?
No, this is the challenges. Contaminated drinking water is estimated
Drinking
to cause.
water costs. Okay, so why it is important is that because you can see that every year the debt has been increasing, and we are, how do we call it, if we do not wrong, if we are underdeveloping, or just we are progressing country, it will not be wrong. So now if you see there are a certain percentage which is given, how much it is affecting, where there is no water, where there's no sanitation and all. Now what are the parameter, or how do we integrate them? How do we understand what is what? How do we segregate? Basically, if we talk about a solid waste management system, then we will be talking about how do we segregate, or what are they? So first thing which we will be talking about is this, of course, this suspended one, the floating material that need to be first immediately removed. Of course, this. Second one is, of course, some suspended could be some dissolved, could be like organic, inorganic, and some heavy metal. Those need to be also removed. So that's why where the appropriate technology or the best technology has to be selected. So now if you see that there are 4 challenges. What are these 4 challenges? The first one is, of course, the suspended one. Second one is the organic one. Of course, third one is also organic, but they are in very less in concentration, but they're very, very, very much dangerous. And the third, very much prominent, is, of course, the pathogenic one. Now, if you can address all these 3 things, then this problem of a previous one could be solved. Now, water uses. Now, I hope you can see the water uses slide. So if you see there, we can think about that, where the water are being used and how it has been there. You can see that, highest secrets, and I said there, but 2050, then where is the water? The water requirement is that much, but the availability is this much. And of course, now those availability are contaminated. Now, if I see here about the water stress and all, how much water we are drawing it. See, we are drawing it a water from a source, but are we treated all the water which are there? If you can see around, I think no. The global scenario is also suggesting that we are almost putting everything to that. So a recovery facility is not there. So we need to bring this recovery facility. Now, if you see about there, then you can see the graph representing red color, blue color, and of course the maroon color is there. So if you see this all, then you can understand that the red suggests what? The high risk or the water stress countries. Then if you see in the picture, if you can see it, then I think the red color suggests that we are in the stress place. Now, all this if summarize up, then if we make into a understandable, a simple, a quick way, then you can see that the most dangerous for our public health and all is, of course, the 70% is contributed from the viruses. Of course, recently we already had a very much, how do you say it, maybe a very stressful, very traumatic journey because of the virus. And other, of course, they are also contributing, we know it. But now moving to the next, if I see here pollution, that people are being killed. Now, if we see here India, China, and there are countries are listing down, and then of course India is a top country. And if by 2050, if we see it, then of course, India, you can see so many places are red in color. Now, how do we deal it? If you see this graphical presentation also, you can understand that this is
Dr.
there.
Madison, slide is not changing now. It is still at the challenges.
Okay, sir.
Can you do it on a full screen mode? Slideshow.
Yes, sir. I was doing that one, but
It is here. Just see at the bottom right. There is a 33% written here.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have been doing here. So, what is now, sir?
It is still same. Okay, on the top of it, use slideshow on the top toolbar. Slideshow. Next. Just
Shall I stop it again?
Third from the right.
Yes, sir. Shall I stop it again and play it again?
No issue. That's not a problem. Just you can resume from wherever.
Is it coming, sir? Now, is it coming?
No, it's not coming. Just click on the slideshow. Yes.
Yes, and then
from current.
From the current. No, sir. I think it's not moving, right?
No, okay, chalo, no issues. No issues.
Okay, so I'll stop it, sir, and then I'll do it again, sir. Actually,
you
sir,
can do one thing. You can do one thing. You just start your presentation and bring it to a slideshow and then share.
Okay, 1 second, sir. I'll do that one. I think that is it. Is it okay, sir?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so I don't know where I stopped, but I think somewhere here I stop. I think. Chalo, so I'll let us resume from here, remotion from here. So here, if you see that, how much our country is being facing and what are the basically challenges what we have, as I said, by 2050, our country is in a very much stressful area because of the pollution. And if you see here a graphical representation, you can see that, nowadays the most talk about is the microplastic, and it has been really affecting our ecology. So from there you can understand, but more of this research is required. Pharmaceutical active compound are there, of course, from 2000 onward in India is also we are doing research. Now, if you see here, as I said in the earlier one, this place would be having almost like no water by 2050. Now, our country is also here. What is the solution? Water we cannot create. Water what is available is there, and all what our water available that is already been contaminated. Now this place could be in a little safer place, so that's I'll not be talking. Now all these are there, then what do we do it? So there is, of course, a series of treatment is required, and some of them we already know from our class textbooks. From there you can understand how their treatment process are continuing and how they are being treated. But after treatment, my concern is that is it this water is for drinking or not? Of course, there are some technology are there available, and some country are of course doing it. And then from there, if we see, okay, sorry, extremely sorry. So here was that, there are a treatment process and their country are doing it. So a secondary treatment, I think I should not go in more detail, but most of the learner, they would already know about this process. So this is very important, the primary. That's why, I want to just put an impression that where these organics, where the separation are take place, this is a major place. So we remove all the kind of pollutant that has been brought into the water. And then if you see, there are three major treatment concept which has been adopted since more than 60 years. It would not be wrong if we say more than 100 years. So like attached growth system, which is very prominent and very much easy also. And then I think that's why people are doing it. And second is suspended growth, little bit cost intensive, but that's all right. Now the third one is that because of the micro pollutant and all, the ionized system has been brought into a technology bandwidth, and they has been used. So if I say that these three are the major technology intervention which is required to remove the pollutant or pollution which we are discussing about. Okay, so now here, if I say about this first one, that is the filtration bed, you already know about this filtration bed, so I'll not talk in detail, but of course, very important treatment concept which are hello, sir. Can anybody confirm that this screen is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so I was somewhere here, I think. Okay, so like for instance, like the trickling filter, what are the advantage and what are disadvantage and why it's so much popular? I think most of the participants knew it, and then how it has been so much popular in the century onward. So I think if I would say one of the thing is that resistant to the shock loading, like for example, what I mean is that if there is something like spill is there, and then this technology can take care of that one. So that's why one of the very important support in favor of this technologies. But of course there is a one disadvantage which I would say is that a skilled personnel is required, where otherwise that could be a very much problematic for the place of a surrounding because of the odor and all. Now, if we see about this design parameter and all, why and how it should do is that because there are two types. If we have a large volume of waste, then of course the loading rate would be different. So accordingly, you can decide that what would be the best, like for example, the organic loading, the hydraulic loading, and what should be the depth. So these are the things that help us to understand how should we design our system. Now, this is very important. Probably most of you are aware. If not, then just I would like to inform you about design of the filter bed. This especially how big it should be and how should be the loading. Now, if you can see, there are two stages of filter. One is a single stage, other one is a multi-stage. So in case of a single stage, what would be the filter area that is recorded? What is the volume recorded? Is it based on the recirculation ratio? So we have the different recirculation ratio. Based on that, you can select the appropriate to get the efficiency of the treatment. That means how much it could remove your pollutant. So here is there a simple demographic presentation of this one, so you can take the best appropriate for yours. So now if I see about the how do we calculate now, so there are some small mathematics which has been shared here. So it's not required, but you can just go through that. Just I want to inform you that maybe you can get an opportunity to design for the university, from small community. Then I think you can take some of the equation from here, and then based on this, you can do your calculation and design your bed. So Now, if I talk about the principle about this, I think you need to understand how is that the air which is available, the oxygen which is available in the air, basically detect all the microorganism detect this, and they get consume the organics, and this is how it's removed. So a simple funda is that it's available in a nature, and we just take the help of a nature, and the microbes are also already available in there, and we also take the help of this one. So this is just a principle. So now I thought to give one small, but I chose extremely sorry because I'm not aware of the format. So I thought that this could be done, but nevertheless, I think it is not required here because we are not being able to discuss how is this. So I'll move on this, but sometime if required, and let me know, I'll share this one. So, okay, the second one is the, of course, the rotary bioreactor. This is also one of popular one, but it required some space, you know. And the other one is a vertical, so this one is horizontal, so that is a different. But here, you know, the thing is that, you know, it's clean by itself because of the attached growth of the microorganism, and it is basically used to remove nutrients and all. So now if you see here, then how basically it helps, they rotate this drum, and the drum sometimes it's in the air and sometimes it's in water, sometimes it's air and sometimes it's water. So this is how it got rotation and it got removed. So if I wanted to project here about the advantages and disadvantages, then it is given there. So very well understood. So I'll not go in there, but of course, I want to also focus, or I want to also put you into understanding that, you know, how this will help and what should be the revolution, or how long the drum should be in the water, or how long the drum should be in the air. So that's very important. Moving to the next, you can see here, you know, why it's being so popular, and if you can have a certain kind of protection, then of course this is excellent, because you know, to prevent the kind of, you know, radiation from the sunlight, sometimes UV are there, they could be, you know, a problem. And of course, not only that, but the algae formation is an also issue. So you can of course have a kind of protection there. You can see a picture from there how it is being maintained. So and you can of course do this. So if you see here, you know, the mechanism basically the orientation are basically arranged. So this is nothing like. Moving to the next, but what is the general criteria, or what do we need to understand? I have listed about 6. The first one is the loading, very important. The loading, the loading could be of 2 types. Okay, one is the hydraulic loading, the water which is there, and of course the concentration of the waste or the pollutant, the organic loading. So coming to the, all are there, so we'll not go into all the 6, but you can just understand. Then of course some design parameters are there, and to understand what kind of treatment level you are required. Only you want to remove the organics, then of course you can do, but if you want to remove some nutrient, then of course the loading would be different. So they are given, these are already there. So I think I should not go for here also. And then of course this is very popular, okay, and you can know it, and you can see it from across the country wherever there are. So activated sludge process is there, or suspended one. Now I wanted to put just in this understanding about how our country is being treating the waste, and where are the, you know, country, or no country, world 10 largest wastewater treatment plant. Now, even though in India we have the highest number of a population, second in the world, but we do not have this. But even the Japan is having the wastewater treatment plant. So if you see this, you can clearly understand that how we are understanding about our pollution and how we are understanding about our contamination. So I think time has come that the idea need to be propagated and idea need to be brought up, and this global scenario has to be changed. Now, you can see here there are 10 largest treatment plan of the world. Moving to the next, I'll not go here because it is not required, I think. And then this also not required. And then of course, this which I was saying, the third one, deionization system. Sometimes, you like, for example, now our boys are doing a research here, a small team, and they are trying to remove the fluoride and arsenic together with the reactor. They use the aluminum and they use the iron and other plate in order. So now if we see here, then I will go. So I wanted to just give an understanding about one of the example here which I'm doing. So it was for the government of Assam. So we proposed the water treatment plan, and now this is already there. It's been approved by the Ministry of Donor. That is done already. Administrative approval were there, all are there. So there are certain criteria that we need to understand, before selecting the best technology. Like, for example, nature of the raw sewage, which I was saying about the organic loading, the loading, and of course the availability of land. India, is a country of so much diversity and big area, but still, people, you see that our history is there. Mahabharata, there, we can see that how we have fought for the land. So I think you already understood, and of course the OM is also required. Now here the outcome, or basically the how it would like to support from this small case study is that it will going to improve. Of course, everybody knew that it will going to improve and all, and we are targeting about 24 mld of sewage water treatment plant. So I'll wanted to show you the place here, that this is the small town in the state of Assam. गांव करके है वहां पे, लगभग 500 किलोमीटर गुवाहाटी से हमारे इधर की तरफ। तो आप देख रहे हैं कि वो जो औरत है पानी फेच कर रहा है रेत की थोड़ा सा खोद के। नो इफ यू सी हियर that this women understand that मैं नदी के पानी डायरेक्ट ले नहीं सकता हूँ। बाकायदा अगर मैं नदी से कुछ दूर, if I dig a hole and then I fetch the water, that is safer than taking the river water. Even she knew it. So if we see this, they are already in subjection of a highly contaminated. Everybody will accept that this water is not potable as per the standard, or as per the standard तो छोड़ दीजिए, as a human उससे भी देखिए, it's not possible, but they are doing. इसका solution नहीं, क्यों? क्योंकि surface water contaminated हो गया, ground water हो गया। आपको पता है ये हमें आर्सेनिक फ्लोराइड का बहुत बड़ा पंगा है असम में, और not only in असम, in राजस्थान, वेस्ट बंगाल, and of course आपका भी पंजाब के भी कुछ सेगमेंट है, I have read it there, तो वो भी इशू है। तो अगर मैं इस चीज को मैप में रिप्रेजेंट किया जाए, पिक्टोरियल में रिप्रेजेंट किया जाए, तो ये जो लाल 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 डॉट देख रहा है, दैट इज मीन आपका जो एक्सिट है, जो आर्सेनिक की कंसेंट्रेशन है 1 माइक्रोग्राम का ऊपर का मतलब वो है। तो इफ यू सी हियर, देन आप तो सेफ वाटर तो है नहीं, और ऊपर से इधर तरफ तो पहाड़ी है, वो तो मिलेगा ही नहीं पानी। आपका जो ब्रह्मपुत्र बेसिन है, ब्रह्मपुत्र का बेसिन है, फिर भी इज एन इशू। सो issue is there because of 2 to 3 reasons. One is that the water which is being fed to the Brahmaputra are of course the drain. ये पिक्चर भी हमारे यहाँ का ही पिक्चर है, हिंदुस्तान का ही पिक्चर है, ज्यादा दूर नहीं है, even though after having a treatment plan. Now ये पिक्चर है एक मतलब आपका न्यूज क्लिपिंग है, न्यूज कट है, तो पीपल आर सेइंग दैट दिस project which is coming in the Brahmaputra river by the China could not only reduce the flow of the water, but it could really impact a high in the coming most like 50 to 20 by 2050. तो इसलिए हमारे पास मतलब अभी ज्यादा टाइम नहीं इस चीज को सोचने के लिए कि करे क्या करे। तो हम जस्ट वांटेड टू रिप्रेजेंट बिफोर यू दैट हमारे जो एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम है या फिर जो प्रपोजल है, ये दो है जो मोटे मोटे तौर पे है, जो आप देख भी सकते हैं कि एडीबी फंड कर रहा है, जिक्का फंड कर रहा है, इसके बावजूद भी हमारे पास सॉल्यूशन नहीं है। और ये जो नदी दिख रहा है, ये ब्रह्मपुत्र नदी, एक छोर से दूसरे दूर ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 1 किलोमीटर। मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैव सीन इट मे बी पासिंग थ्रू हियर, और मे बी गूगल में देखा होगा, बहुत बड़ी नदी और मतलब छोर पे दिखाई नहीं देता है। Even though the challenges are there, तो हमने कुछ प्लान विजिट किया, we visited some plan there in order to understand what is the problem and all. So this is the plan here. तो basically क्या करते हैं, even though here in today हम पानी क्या करते हैं, नदी का ही पानी लेते हैं। इसकी 2-3 रीजन है यहाँ पे नदी का पानी लेने का। एक जमाने पे ये जो बनाया गया क्योंकि नदी का पानी शुद्ध होते थे, साफ होते थे, दे आर क्लियर वाटर, बट टुडे नॉट। बट हम टेक्नोलॉजी अडॉप्ट नहीं कर रहे, वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू चेंज आवर टेक्नोलॉजी। So that's one reason. Another one is because the geogenic contamination here is there, so they have preferred to take this one, but still not a healthy picture. Now if you see here that how much Assam is doing and what is the picture of an Assam, you can see there what is the treatment process or what is the capacity there, कुछ काम का नहीं है, sorry to say, but हो नहीं पा रहा है, ऊपर से हम लोग का हुआ है। Then we have explored around the bank and all, we have tried to see it, हम प्राइवेट बैंक टैंकर लोग किस तरह से काम कर रहे हैं, पानी का सोर्स क्या है। तो that is all about in pretty how do you call it, the scenario of Assam. And also fortunate to have one more project with the Bhutan government, so they have also wanted to have a water supply system and they don't want to take a river water even though it's clean. So हमारे कुछ जो फोलियोस है, ये फोलियोस है, आप इसको नजरअंदाज कर सकते हैं। बट जब हमने उसके पानी को टेस्ट किया, जो सबसे पहले टेस्टिंग किया, टेस्ट नहीं, तो जब देखा गया कि आपका जो इवन दो द रिवर वाटर है ठीक है, मतलब बाथेबल है, बट दे आर नॉट ड्रिंकेबल। सो आप तो उधर का एक छोटे सा और दूसरा रिवर देखा तो भाई नॉट इवन पॉसिबल टू टेक ए बाथ एंड ऑल। तो इवन जो कि वर्जिन है या अनटच माउंटेन वगैरह भी मतलब नॉट एनी मोर सेफ, देयर कुड बी सम रीजन। सो वी एक्सप्लोर दिस ऑल दिस प्लेस एंड देन वी प्रपोज सम वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लान फॉर देयर आल्सो। वो हम आपको बाद में डिटेल बताएंगे किस तरह से हम उनको एक्सप्लेन करना चाहते थे कि हम इस सॉल्यूशन को आप लीजिए, क्यों लीजिए। तो हमारे कुछ फाइंडिंग है वहाँ के, तो इस जगह पे है। सो विल कीप ऑन मूविंग। सो नाउ आई हैव टॉक टू यू अबाउट द प्रॉब्लम। पानी भी है सर, लेकिन पानी भी साफ नहीं बता रहा है, तो आपका सॉल्यूशन क्या है? मतलब एक्सपेंसिव ट्रीटमेंट जाने के लिए आप मना कर रहे हैं। तो हमारा जो सॉल्यूशन है या फिर हमारा जो प्रपोजल ये है कि उसको आप बैंक फिल्ट्रेशन के तौर पे पानी को लीजिए, नेदर देन सरफेस वाटर डायरेक्टली। सो व्हाट इज बेसिकली अ बैंक फिल्ट्रेशन? बैंक फिल्ट्रेशन कुछ नहीं है, एक सिंपल सा टेक्निक है और यह कॉन्सेप्ट है। आप नदी के सामने, नदी तत्शोधन जिसे कहते हैं, नदी के सामने या फिर पौंड के सामने या जो भी वाटर बॉडी के सामने पे आप अपने एक बोरवेल लगाइए, वहां से आप पानी खींचिए। उस पानी को खींचने के तर्ज पे क्या होता है कि जो सरफेस वाटर है वो खींच के आपका क्या हो जाएगा, filtered हो जाएगा during that. So the induced filtration will take place. So that is why I wanted to inform you all, to all the esteemed participants, that the solution is there without any big investment, without any cutting edge technology. Of course technology है, टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए दो चीज चाहिए होती है, एक तो है आपको पैसा चाहिए और दूसरी होती है एनर्जी। चलो हम पैसा लगा के भी दिया, एक बड़ा ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट बना लिया, मेम्ब्रेन कर दिया, आरओ कर दिया, वो कर दिया, फलाना कर दिया, कुछ कर दिया, लेकिन भाई उसके लिए तो ड्राइव करने के लिए तो पावर तो चाहिए। वी नीड एन एनर्जी। हाउ डू वी डू इट? एनर्जी तो देखिए आप, इवन दो आई थिंक दिल्ली को भी 24 घंटा बिजली नहीं मिलती होगी, कहने के लिए मिलता होगा, बट जो दिल्ली में रहता है दे नो इट, दे विल नॉट बी गेटिंग 24/7। अगर 24/7 बिजली मिलता होगा तो हर घर में इन्वर्टर और जनरेटर लगाने की क्या जरूरत है? अब बड़े बड़े होटल में देखिए जनरेटर लगाया हुआ है, किसकी जरूरत है? तो दैट मीन देयर पिक्चर इज नॉट दैट वन। So now I wanted to bring it back is that what is a bank filtration? The bank filtration कुछ नहीं है, ये जो दोनों नदी का पानी और ग्राउंड वाटर का पानी को मिक्स करता है वो मिलके आपको पानी दिया जाता है। इसमें सबसे बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आपका जो वेल है, where your well is drilled, distance is a matter. After that, the process will occur. The process is what happened because the filtrate of that surface water in the subsurface process, the biodegradation will take place, absorption will take place, redox reaction will take place, chemical precipitation will take place, so on will take place. Now, during this process, all this process will help us to remove our pollution from the surface water to get a cleaner water. मैं clean water नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, cleaner water, but we can taste it whether we are getting a clean water or a cleaner water. Now, हमारे हिस्ट्री को अगर देखा जाए तो most of the civilization are just settled on the bank of a river. ये किस लिए हुआ? Concept is very clear. नदी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के तौर पे यूज करना है, या पानी जो है, जो भी जाता है समुद्र जो भी हो, उसको ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के तौर पे यूज करना है और अवेलेबल वाटर हो जाता है, इसकी वजह से, और कुछ नहीं है। अब ड्रिंकिंग वाटर को लिए नदी का पानी पहले भी लोग झरने के पानी पीते हैं, लेकिन उनने एक सॉल्यूशन निकला कि भाई वो अपने पास सस्टेनेबल नहीं है या लॉन्ग टर्म सॉल्यूशन के लिए नहीं, तो क्या करते हैं, उसके सामने एक कुएं खोद देते, उसके सामने कुछ खोद देते। तो यही है, और हमारा ये इतिहास अभी नहीं है, लेकिन हमारा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में कमियां है। सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ दिस। नाउ अगर हम इस चीज को थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल तौर पे देखा जाए, नाउ इफ यू सी अबाउट द टेक्निकल थिंग, देन you can see that this bank filtration has been adopted in the foreign countries, especially in Europe. So this plan is in Dresden. So वो क्या करते हैं कि जो पानी है, नदी का पानी ना लेके वो एक जो बैंक है, बैंक पे series of well they have dug it and they have taken it the water. So if you see here the capacity भी तो कम नहीं है, 12,000 मीटर क्यूब पर डे है, और उसका रिटेंशन है 7। I think that is not a small volume of water. Now दूसरा प्लेट भी वहां पे है जो कि उसी कॉन्सेप्ट पे built है, जैसे you can see here the capacity is almost 35,000 cubic meter per day water, और रिटेंशन टाइम थोड़ी सी बड़ी है। तो जो ये आप थोड़ा हवेली टाइप देख रहा है, और वो हवेली नहीं एक्चुअली एक वाटर बॉक्स है, जो आप अपने राइट हैंड साइन की तरफ पे, राइट हैंड की तरफ पे देख रहे होंगे, कुछ छोटे लाल पीले कुछ लगाया हुआ, और पता नहीं कुछ एक छोटा सा कंक्रीट स्ट्रक्चर दिखा हुआ है, वो एक्चुअली वेल है वहां पे। अब ऊपर में खेलते रहो कूदते रहो ना, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? अब उसमें फुटबॉल खेलो, उसमें वॉलीबॉल खेलो, उसमें गिल्ली डंडा खेलो, कुछ भी खेलो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि वो जमीन के नीचे पे वेल है और वहां पे एक सिस्टम है। अगर यहाँ पे एक वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट बना दिया जाए, कंस्ट्रक्ट किया जाए, तो क्या होगा? ये जगह तो पूरा सरकारी हो गया भैया, इसमें तो आप जाने का अलाउ नहीं है, इसमें तो वो अलाउ नहीं, पूरा जमीन भी वेस्ट हो गया। लेकिन यहाँ पे इस तरह से नहीं। तो आई थिंक sometimes somewhere the technology shift is required, like हम लोग बोलते हैं paradigm shift। तो I think that is a requirement। तो जहां पे अगर जो सरफेस वाटर है अगर बहुत ही कंटामिनेटेड है, तो आप उसको रिचार्ज बेसिन के तौर पे भी यूज कर सकते हैं। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल हॉस्टविच एक वाटर बॉक्स है, वहां पे 1908 पे बना है वो। इस पे क्या हुआ कि सरफेस वाटर वाज वेरी मच पॉल्यूटेड, मीन ऑर्गेनिकली लोडेड। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल यमुना का पानी है, आप लोग में से कई लोग आपने दिल्ली गया होगा और दिल्ली पे रहा भी होगा कुछ टाइम के लिए, तो यमुना नदी देखा होगा। तो हम क्या करते हैं, यमुना का नदी को लेके ट्रीटमेंट सोनिया विहार वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट पे अपर मतलब यमुना को हम लोग अपर बरेज से हम लोग पानी लेके वह ट्रीट कर रहा है। क्या ये जरूरी था? अगर था तो फिर ये क्या है जो आपके सामने जो पिक्चर दिख रहा है? हमारे वहां पे पूरा एरिया 650 mld का पानी है सोनिया विहार का। तो वो आप जो सारे हैं, आपको क्या कह रहे, पूरा जगह आपने क्लासिफाइड कर दिया, भाई कोई जाने से कोई नहीं कर सकता, इवन दो सेटिस्फाइड भी नहीं कर सकता पानी देने की। यहाँ पे आपने कौन सी बड़ी बड़ी स्ट्रक्चर दी? कुछ नहीं देखा, वो 2-3 पॉन्ड देख लिया है, और कुछ देखा वो तो घर है। तो डेट इज हाउ द वाटर वर्क्स आर देयर। तो ये वाटर वर्क्स क्या हमारे यहाँ पे नहीं हो सकता है क्या? द सॉल्यूशन इज देयर, the adaptation is required. So this one example from there. Of course मैं आपको goes with का भी example देना चाहता हूँ। ये एक छोटी सी आप कह सकते हैं ना कि अभी तक आप सिर्फ नदी 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 की बात बोल रहे हैं, सर पूरा हिंदुस्तान तो नदी है नहीं, तो अब उस केस में क्या करेंगे? अगर है तो वन सॉल्यूशन तो ये भी है कि अगर आपके पास नेचुरल लेक है, नेचुरल पॉन्ड है, जो भी हो, तो ऑफकोर्स यू नीड टू इन्वेस्टिगेट देयर कि आपका ये रिचार्ज बेसिन सफिशिएंट है कि नहीं उस पानी को देने के लिए। तो यहाँ का जो एग्जाम्पल है इसके हिसाब से देखा जाए तो 15,000 मीटर क्यूब पर डे ऑफ वाटर आर एब्स्ट्रैक्टेड फ्रॉम दिस लेक एंड द नेज रिवर। रिवर तो बहुत छोटा सा है, देखिए देख सकते हैं आप। नाउ अगर इन चीज को हम अगर समराइज किया जाए तो यूएसए, यूरोप, भारत में भी कर रहे हैं हम। यूएसए में तो आपने ये देख लिया होगा, तो बड़े बड़े शहर का नाम है, ठीक है, छोड़ दीजिए। अब यूरोप में भी देख लिया होगा, बड़े 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 शहर का नाम है। और हमारे जो हिंदुस्तान है, जहाँ पे मैंने लिखा आपके राइट की तरफ, आप देखे होंगे हरिद्वार इतनी बड़ी शहर नहीं है, ऋषिकेश इतनी बड़ी शहर नहीं है, नैनीताल इतनी बड़ी नहीं है, मथुरा आप जानते ही है, आपके सामने ही है, अहमदाबाद थोड़ी सी बड़ी है, खड़गपुर आपको पता है, श्रीनगर मतलब वो वाला श्रीनगर नहीं है, ये उत्तराखंड वाला श्रीनगर है। इसका बाद है ये मेरे जहाँ पे मैं रहता हूँ कोकराझार। तो हम इन चीजों को ट्रांसलेट करके यहाँ पे हमें अप्लाई कर रहा है, लेकिन अभी भी वो जो रेट है इस तरह से नहीं हो रहा है। स्मॉल 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 कम्युनिटी के लिए 5,000 लोगों के लिए हार्डली, मतलब 800 लोगों के लिए, किसी किसी जगह पे तो बहुत कम है। तो बट स्मॉल स्केल पे हम ये देख रहे हैं और ये कर भी रहे हैं। तो आई थिंक यू नो द मैट्रिक्स हैज टू बी ब्रॉड, डॉट हैज टू बी ब्रॉड, यू नो। तो हम और आपको जस्ट फील देने के लिए हम ये और दिखाना चाहते हैं, जो आपने पहला वाला देखा था ऑस्ट्रो-बीच वाला, ये देखिए इसका जो कैपेसिटी आपको बताया था 15 डेज का, ये जो वेल है, जो मैंने डॉट 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 कुछ नहीं था वो वेल है। ये सब जो छोटे 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 प्रोडक्शन वेल कहते हैं हम उसको। दिस प्रोडक्शन वेल आर कनेक्टेड टू सिफॉन, मतलब कोई पंप की भी खर्चा नहीं, कोई बिजली की भी खर्चा नहीं है। आपको बस ये है कि मेंटेन करना है कि आपको पानी कितनी ड्रॉ करना है, उसी तरह से हेड देना है, एंड वाटर यू कैन गेट इट विदाउट एनी अप ट्रीटमेंट प्लान। तो आपका प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व। आपको तो एक तो पंप देना ही पड़ेगा ना पब्लिक को देने के लिए, तो वाटर बॉक्स पे आपने एक पंप लगा दिया। तो इस सिटी को देखा जाए तो आपका मोर देन 50% वाटर आर सप्लाइड टू बैंक फिल्ट्रेशन कॉन्सेप्ट। आई थिंक दिस इज दी वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट, और ये गेम चेंजर भी बोल सकता है। तो हमने वो उसका जो सिमुलेशन है, वो सिमुलेशन को रहने दीजिए, हम उस पर नहीं जाएंगे। तो ये हमारा टीम था, जब मैं वहाँ पे पढ़ाई कर रहा था तो टीम लोग हम लोग गया वहाँ पे इन्वेस्टिगेट किया। तो आप ये देख सकते हैं कि हम उसको अलग अलग प्रोफाइलिंग कर सकता है। और मैं अभी दुनिया के कुछ किस्सों के कुछ जगह के नाम बताना चाहता हूँ जिसपे जो इसका कैपेसिटी है। आप देख सकते हैं नदी का नाम क्या है, नदी दिया हुआ है, और स्लोवेनिया पे ये दिया हुआ 26,000 मीटर क्यूब। अभी सिमिलरली अगर आप देखा जाए ये खेत के लिए था, ये यहाँ पे बहुत इंडस्ट्रीज डैम कर दिया। तो वो कंसर्न वहाँ के किसानों पे ये कंसर्न देखिए कि हम अपने पब्लिक को किस तरह से कंटामिनेटेड मतलब वेजिटेबल दे सकते हैं। तो उसने क्या किया, वो छोटी सी वहाँ पे देखिए हट टाइप देखिए, तो वहां से उन लोगों ने पानी ड्रॉ करके और ये उसमें दिया खेती में देने के लिए। तो आई थिंक दिस इज वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट aspect of using this concept। तो नॉट ओनली देयर, आप आगे कुछ चीज को भी देख सकते हैं। अगर खारे पानी पे जहाँ पे आपका जो अरब कंट्रीज वगैरह पे ये दे हैव बीन यूटिलाइजिंग दिस, बिकॉज उनकी जो ट्रीटमेंट है सॉल्ट वाटर को लेके, ब्राइन वाटर को लेके, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर बहुत हाई हो रहा था, ये बहुत एक्सपेंसिव हो रहा था। तो उन्होंने हमारे सुपरवाइजर को कहा था कि ये कुछ सॉल्यूशन दे सकते हैं क्या। देन हमारे सुपरवाइजर की टीम, जिसमें गया नहीं इसमें, तो हमारे सुपरवाइजर की टीम दे हैव डन इट, एंड दे आर saying that you can use this concept as a pre-treatment for your water production। तो देखिए क्या हो गया, जैसे कि आपके खारे पानी को अगर डायरेक्ट ट्रीट करते हैं, इफ यू ट्रीट द डायरेक्ट ब्राइन वाटर, तो आपका कॉस्ट क्या बनेगा? ऑफ कोर्स उससे तो कम बनेगा। सो दैट इज वेयर द मैट्रिक्स और दैट इज वेयर द लॉजिक इज देयर। तो अभी नेक्स्ट हम कुछ पिक्चर दिखाना चाहते हैं। जैसे हम बता रहे थे ना, हम हिंदुस्तान में बड़े छोटे तर्ज पे काम कर रहे हैं। तो जो आपका ये पहला वाला पिक्चर है अहमदाबाद का, और सिमिलरली इसी तरह का पिक्चर है आपका मथुरा में भी। मथुरा रिफाइनरी जो पानी लेते हैं वो क्या कहते हैं आपका यमुना के बेड से लेते हैं। ऑफकोर्स फॉर नॉट फॉर ड्रिंकिंग पर्पस, दे आर फॉर देयर प्लान के लिए। ऑफकोर्स IIT खड़गपुर ये प्रॉब्ली इनको पता होगा, some of them from the Kharagpur only, so this is the place where is there, and of course you can see श्रीनगर जो मैं बता रहा था वो आपको कहीं में वाटर ट्रीटमेंट दिखाई दे रहा है श्रीनगर का पिक्चर में? कुछ दिखाई नहीं दे रहा सिवाय वो एक छोटा सा जो रेक्टेंगुलर कंक्रीट ब्लॉक है, इसके अलावा कुछ दिखाई दे रहा है? आदमी खेल भी सकता है, कुछ भी कर सकता है। तो ये अलकनंदा नदी के ऊपर है जो कि गंगा है, तो उसी के ऊपर वी हैव डन स्मॉल स्टडी, केस स्टडी देयर। ऑफ कोर्स ये दूसरी और जगह का है। तो हमारे जो स्टार प्लान है, हम स्टार प्लान बोलते हैं उसको, स्टार प्रोजेक्ट यूनिट। स्टार प्लान आपका उत्तराखंड में, अगर आपको कभी मौका मिले तो आप जाइएगा हरिद्वार पे, वेल नंबर 18 हरिद्वार के पंदीप आइलैंड पे है ये, आप वहां पे जाके देखिए। ये है 5 मीटर डाया का वेल है और बैंक फिल्ट्रेशन कॉन्सेप्ट पे ही आधारित है। हरिद्वार के सिटीज को पानी वहां से दे रहा है। तो इफ यू वांट टू गो लेट मी नो, मैं कनेक्ट करा दूंगा, आप जा सकते हैं, उसमें देख के आ सकते हैं। तो और ये जो है कोकराझार पे छोटी सी हम टेस्ट करा रहे हैं, हमारे बच्चे लोग हैं और एक जर्मन साइंटिस्ट भी विजिट पे था उस समय, तो हमारे ही इंटर्न है, तो ये लोग काम कर रहे थे, टेस्टिंग कर रहे थे कि पानी का कितना इल दे सकता है, क्या है। तो दिस इज अबाउट द एग्जाम्पल। और मैं थोड़ा सी टच अपन करना चाहूंगा, ये जो आपका डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्लेसेस का जो कैपेसिटी क्या है। तो दिस इज ऑल द कैपेसिटी आर देयर सो फार, बट आई थिंक this is not the conclusion. You can grow more, you can do more, and अगर हमारे कंट्री का 10% भी हम इस टेक्नोलॉजी से अचीव कर लेते हैं, तो हमारा जो कुछ हद तक जो प्रॉब्लम कहा था वो प्रॉब्लम का सॉल्यूशन हो जाएगा, मुझे ऐसा महसूस होता है। Now, उस चीज को अगर हम थोड़ा सा देख लिया जाए तो हमारा जो मैप है, ये जो डॉट, तो अभी आपका न्यू प्रोजेक्ट है ब्रह्मपुत्र पे, आपने देखा होगा एक रेक्टेंगुलर टाइप का, और बाकी जगह पे भी हो रहा है। तो जस्ट फॉर योर काइंड इन्फॉर्मेशन मैं जस्ट बताना चाह रहा था, ये पंदीप आइलैंड, जैसे कि मैं आपके लेफ्ट पे देखिएगा, तो पंदीप आइलैंड पे वहाँ पे आप जाइएगा, कभी होना होता तो देख के आइएगा किस तरह से हम अपर गंगा कैनाल और गंगा रिवर के बीच में ये जो कॉन्सेप्ट वी आर अप्लाइंग इट। नाउ दिस इज इन दिल्ली, तो ये मेरी मास्टर के टाइम पे मैंने किया था आईआईटी दिल्ली पे, जब मैं पढ़ाई कर रहा था तो मुझे एक मौका मिला ईयू के प्रोजेक्ट पे काम करने के लिए पहली बार। तो ये जो आप डॉट 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 या क्रॉस 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 देख रहे हैं, तो ये सब पे हम लोगों ने एक मॉडलिंग या इन्वेस्टिगेशन किए थे कि क्या ये आपका जो अपर यमुना है, मतलब बड़ा जो निजाम नजफगढ़ के ऊपर का जो वाला है, तो उस बेच पे क्या हमारा ये कॉन्सेप्ट अप्लाई होता है कि नहीं होता है। उस जगह का नाम है पल्ला, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली यू आर अवेयर ऑफ दिस। सो फ्रॉम दिस प्लेस वी केम टू नो दैट इवन Delhi is also working on this one, but very 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 small amount. And then there we have also informed him admin that this is possible to adopt, but अभी तक वो आगे बढ़ा नहीं है, but nevertheless हमारा काम है करना, करते रहेंगे। तो ये है आपका नैनीताल, जो नैनीताल लेक पे है, आपका पहाड़ी है, फिर भी फ्रॉम नैनीताल लेक वी हैव ऑलमोस्ट लाइक एज ऑफ टुडे देयर आर 13 वेल्स। तो शुरुआत में 9 वेल के करीब था, तो हमने यहाँ पे भी वो टेस्टिंग किया। और आपका जो नैनीताल टूरिस्ट पॉइंट आप लोगों को मालूम है, तो नैनीताल वाटर वर्क्स, तो यही से पानी दिया जाता है ऊपर में पंप करके, फिर ग्रेविटी फ्लो करके सिटी को फेट करते हैं हम लोग। तो दिस इज व्हाट वी वर डूइंग। एंड ऑफ कोर्स और आपको हम थोड़ा सा डिटेल बताना चाहेंगे इस जगह पे कैसा है। सो देन हियर इन दिस प्लेस वेयर वी हैव डन आवर वर्क, तो स्मॉल सा छोटी सी जगह है, तो हमने इस जगह पे जो आप डॉट 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 देख रहे हैं सबकी हमने एनालाइज की है। तो फिर हमें एक रिपोर्ट जनरेट हुआ कि कितना पानी प्रोड्यूस कर सकता है और क्या टाइप है। तो बेसिकली दिस इज लाइक ए आउटकम ऑफ रिसर्च, आप ऐसे कह सकते हैं। तो दिस आर दी more of a geological formation, how they are, and then these are some of the activity which our students are working to study the hydrogeological parameter। जैसे कि अभी हम लोगों को बोल दिया कि ठीक है आप कर लो, बट द पॉइंट इज दैट नॉट दिस वन, द पॉइंट इज दैट हाउ यू आर डूइंग इट एंड वेदर इट इज पॉसिबल और नॉट। तो ये पॉसिबिलिटी के लिए चेक करना पड़ता है, तो द बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स हैव बीन checking it। So Now अगर हम simple in one word में पूछा जाए या बताया जाए तो basically it's कुछ नहीं है, the water which have been treated, or the waste water which has been treated and they have put back to the natural system, and they could be again taken back through the bank filtration concept. और इस concept में आपका huge construction या huge treatment cost नहीं रहेगा. So this is all about the water and wastewater treatment concept, which I wish to share with you all. In between, if anybody has got any question, then I think you are most welcome to ask. Here, this is some example of हमारा कितना potential है ये exist दिखाने के लिए कि what we have in the back. So this is some of our river. You can tame them. हमारा yes यहाँ का बात कर रहा हूँ. Then you can find out the solution. So basically this is there. So ये हमारा टीम है जो हम लोगों ने काम किया था मिलके. इन सबको मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा जो हमें सपोर्ट किया. और ऑफ कोर्स दी एजेंसी बिना उसके तो होते नहीं है, तो ये एजेंसी के लिए हम भी कृतज्ञ है. So they help us a lot in doing the work done. So with that I think सर मैं एंड करना चाहूँगा सर.
Okay. So it is.
Anybody has got any question? Then I think is welcome to understand and welcome to ask me.
So any participant, if you have any suggestion or any comment or any query or anything to share, anything you add onto what information and what knowledge Dr. Madison has provided us with, we would love to hear that. Any feedback, Dr. Gaurav, Dr. Sarabjit, Spreha, Dr. Kirandeep, Dr. Kuldeep,
Sir, very informative session it was. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the knowledge with us.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for your kind word. In fact, थोड़ी सी वो हो गई. Otherwise, we could have done in a different format in a different way.
Right, sir. Right. I understand. There is always, space for betterment.
Yes, because of the time actually. I do not have a
Right.
ready-made presentation, so I was working on that and I thought what to do it. But nevertheless, I'm very much hopeful that at least the information has been passed that by bank filter.
So that has been really wonderful, Dr. Madison, because the topic which you have chosen, that is a water pollution, that is of a large concern. But the cases which you have taken is they are of very local nature, and you have personally worked on that. And those kind of problems, you see, they are just not localized at the, you see, in one particular region. It is all over India, right? Or it's not, you see, wrong to say if I can extrapolate it to some other developing or underdeveloped worlds. Like if we say talk about African countries or South American countries, right, where the living standards are not as good, poverty is there. So those conditions, they are forcing the residents or the population to go for such kind of hardships where they are not getting the, you see, forget about the pure water, they are not getting the potable water to drink. This is and there are some suggestions which you have very you see aptly suggested, like forced filtration. So at least the people who are living near water reservoirs, maybe rivers, maybe ponds, maybe lakes, they can make use of that technique so that they can get at least potable water, or water contaminated with a lesser number of contaminants, or having lesser hazardous. So the purpose is this, that such kind of information has to be percolated from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100, so that multiple people can get benefit from that. Thank you so much, Dr. Medicine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope, sir, I could satisfy 10% of your expectations, sir. I'm extremely sorry.
Your talk was wonderful, mixed with practical examples, field examples. But somehow I was expecting it to be a slightly to construction industry, because you see the kind of
Right,
air
sir.
pollution construction industry is causing, then water pollution industry is causing. So somehow it
Right, sir.
later that could have been you see new spice to this whole recipe of environment contaminants coursework. So
Right, sir. Right, sir. Right,
that
sir.
is a great.
It was a miscommunication, sir, from my end, sir. Actually, my email got this one. Otherwise, it could have been done. I have worked for the industry, construction industry also. I'm associated with AP RERA, but
Okay.
I didn't thought that that was the expectation, sir. Extremely sorry, sir.
No issues, no issues. Don't feel bad. We will have some time, another course that we will include at that time.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. So thank you so much for the opportunity again, sir. And all the patient participant, thank you so much for patient hearing, even though I sound very much illogic somewhere. But thank you so much again.
No. There is nothing illogical. See, when an academician shares the information, particularly from the field, right? It is never illogical. It is you see, everyone has its own perspective. Something which is you see acceptable to me, it may not be acceptable to you. So that doesn't make it logical or illogical, right? So that was a wonderful talk. Wonderful talk. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Bye-bye, sir. Good day to all, sir. Bye, sir. Yeah.
So dear participants, that is all. This session ended somehow quite early, and so we will meet at 2 o'clock. We will be having another speaker, women speaker, and after that we'll be having another women speaker. So kindly join again by 1:55 so that we can start the session in time. Thank you so much.